we saw Seven
Oh yeah,
from
the old one.
1995, starring Brad Pitt,
And
Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Gwyneth
Yeah.
Paltrow. Okay, those are the main three there.
Those are the main three, and
Now we
Kevin
can spoil.
Spacey is in it.
Yeah, that's a spoiler.
Forerunner
But
there,
this is a spoiler movie. It's a spoiler review because it's from 95.
Well, I hadn't seen it since back then. I don't think I went to see it in the theater. I think we probably rented it or something.
I didn't. I was too young and
but I
restricted. No one would take me.
I had seen it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good crime. It's really gritty. It's very 95. It's very about the grit and the grime. It's all about that. That was a big thing, like Kurt Cobain. It's very grimy and grungy.
Cobain was dead by 95.
It was a grungy. Well, that was the same era.
This movie, even the aesthetic of it, still holds up today.
I think he died in 95.
Yeah, the cars are old and they don't have cell phones and everything, but the urban decaying settings and then some of the luxury places like the lawyer's office and that, and there's some really sleazy things in this place, like there's that sex club, and there's
it's just grungy and grimy.
And there's these rental apartments should be condemned.
No one wants to paint anything.
They're not fit for human habitation. They got mold and leaks and just
bugs,
holes in the walls and rodents and pests and it's gross.
They don't know how to paint anything. Anyway, it's a lot, but it's good. Morgan Freeman is just awesome in it.
So is Brad Pitt. I love watching both of them.
Brad Pitt is like a bee in your ear in this movie, and Morgan Freeman is so calm.
This could be a Batman movie with Morgan Freeman as Batman and Brad Pitt as Robin, because that recent Batman movie that we got, Matt Reeves' The Batman from last year, that movie is trying to be Seven in so many ways, and it doesn't quite get there. But this movie definitely still holds up with how
that's a great movie.
The gritty violence and the crime and just it's a real underside of humanity. This is the problem in society. So when you live in a place that's densely populated, okay, like New York City or any other major area, and you live in the urban center, okay, you don't have your own house. You just rent an apartment,
well,
right?
Well, like he says,
and
like, he
it shows how terrible this side of humanity can be.
Morgan Freeman is about to retire, and he basically says, like, on the end, he wants the world to be a better place, but he knows there's no good people.
But he's seen the worst in humanity in this job.
But he's never seen anything like this that they encounter. Yeah. And he basically has like a week and he's gonna retire and he gets a new partner. That's what it's about.
Yeah. And then they get this case that goes on for exactly 7 days.
And
there's 7 deaths for the 7 deadly sins. The first one is we get gluttony, then we get greed, sloth.
Let's not spoil it all.
We're spoiling it. This movie's almost 30 years old.
Let's not say what happens at the end.
I'm not going to say what's happening. I'm just saying this is the order. It goes gluttony, greed, sloth. Then what's after that? Lust, pride, envy, wrath.
Yeah.
That's the order it goes in. And the villain, you don't even find out who he is. He's John Doe. And you don't really find out his reasons why he's doing this. He's just some nutcase.
Of course. Yeah.
And they never really explain it. So this is really intriguing because it leaves it open-ended. Why did this guy do it? Is he just a nutcase?
Yeah, that's why. I mean, Brad Pitt goes on and on about it.
And it's so entrenched
obviously
in Judeo-Christian theology, because they're constantly talking about things that have to deal with religious connotations. So they're constantly going back to Dante's Divine Comedy,
it's about that.
Milton's Paradise Lost, Chaucer's Canterbury Tales,
anybody that talks
Helter
about
Skelter. This is some really anything that talks about the 7 deadly sins. This is some, I don't know if you've read any of these things. If you haven't, I wouldn't recommend. These are some hard piece of literature to get through.
Basically, it's a good drama, and the scenes are great, and they're very believable as well. I find so many cop movies and stuff are so over the top now.
Yeah, and they're shooting and you don't feel any threat or anything.
And this one, the sound in it is even awesome. The way that they do when
Trent Reznor.
Someone's shooting, the bullet hits the glass, you hear it. It's not so stylized. I'm
sure the score was done by Trent Reznor.
Yeah, it does sound Trent Reznor like. I'm not sure if he did it or not, but it's of that era. Anyway, it's
No, it says
I
music
don't
by
think
Howard
Trent
Shore.
Reznor wasn't as big, that he was just coming out about at that time, getting famous.
There is an action scene. There's an action scene where they're chasing John Doe. It's not at the end. It's in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
And when they're chasing him, you feel the danger. Okay?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not one of those generic cop movies
Very
where there's bullets
realistic.
flying everywhere.
No, it's
you
very
feel the
realistic.
danger where Brad Pitt's chasing him and he's like looking around, he's nervous because if he gets shot, he's probably gonna die, right?
Well, yeah, and you hear the bullets going past. It's just really well done, and I find a lot these days are not that good with this.
Too
I don't
much
know
shaky cam, too much cuts.
what it is that's going on. But yeah, I found this was just so much more realistic. I thought it was great. And Morgan Freeman is just awesome in it. He's like the real treat of this movie. His role.
Yeah, he's the really smart guy. See, that's why he would be Batman in this story.
Well, isn't he Batman's Q in the movies
Oh,
nowadays?
he plays Lucius Fox in the Nolan
Yeah.
movies. However, this is essentially like a Batman and Robin story, and it's very grounded and very realistic. So that's why it's not superheroes.
No, it's not like superheroes at all. I think
But-
it's really good. And anyway, it's a great movie.
This is
Won't say
definitely
what
something that
happens at the
keeps
end.
you on your feet, on the edge of your seat
Right.
there, right? And it's about 2 hours. It's just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway, it's
What
a
kind
good
of
one.
rating would you give this movie? That's from almost 30 years
Oh,
old.
I think it's a great movie. I give it like a in the 90s, like probably a
Best
96,
movie ever on the
96,
internet
97,
rating
something like that.
system.
Yeah, I mean it was good. I did remember what happened at the end, unfortunately.
You did remember?
I did remember.
Because I was
Yeah.
keeping quiet. I didn't
No,
want
I
to spoil
did
anything for you.
remember. I did remember it at the end. I thought I had seen it and it looked familiar to me, but I didn't. And then at the end, I did remember, so it was a bit spoiled for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was really
That's
good.
our thoughts on
Okay.
this movie. We both really enjoyed it. It's a classic. I've seen this movie probably at least a couple dozen times,
Oh,
if
and I've
not
only
more.
seen it that one time back in the
If you
day.
haven't seen this movie, sorry we spoiled it for you, but
well, it's
check
not
it out
really.
because this is a
We didn't
classic.
really.
This is a classic horror thriller mystery. It's great by David Fincher.
Really well done.
This is the movie that put him on the map because his previous movie, Alien 3, wasn't the greatest.
No.
But that wasn't his fault. That was the studio's fault.
This is a great one. Okay.
What do you think of 7? Do you enjoy it? Or are you gonna, maybe you haven't seen it. Check it out and let us know if it holds up and leave your comments down below.